Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio Nights, the only sultry podcast this side of the Mississippi. I am your host, as always, the man. No, not Scotty. I'm the voice of the tasteless Ryan Knightsey. With me, as always, is the man, the myth, the down with the sickness himself, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing on this fine Sunday night?
I am struggling. I am. I have felt like crap all day. I am not the reason we moved the podcast, but
Let it be clear.
Yeah, let it be clear. I am not the problem, though. By the end of the show, I might be. But I'm here. I didn't sleep well, so imagine if we did in the morning. Oh, that would have been even worse.
Yeah.
And I am gonna give it an A+ effort, as I always do.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to see. Yeah, I'm the Marina Shafir of the podcast. I'm the problem. So, my brother was in town, and so I thought his flight would have been in the morning. It was at night, so we had to move the podcast later in the day. That's fine. Like Scotty said, it actually maybe worked better for him. And Scotty, you're right. It also might have worked better for me because I don't know if you probably didn't see any of the news, but there was like a big southeast tornado watch warning stuff happening that went from like Alabama and Mississippi all the way over to Georgia. So I didn't sleep really at all either because I was terrified. Why. I was terrified of a tornado hitting my home. But alas, we're fine, thankfully.
I could tell.
Yeah, really. I don't know if people can tell.
I would like to think if you weren't fine, you wouldn't be recording right now.
Yeah, for a second there, I thought you were going to say, I like to think if you weren't fine, you would have told me.
Oh, no, I would have got them. I would have figured that one out.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be here right now.
That's true. That is fairly true. Yeah, and luckily we didn't lose power or anything, so we were actually completely fine. Nothing to worry about. I was just, the anxiety took over. If Dochi has taught me anything, it's that the anxiety is taking over me. And that's what's up. Shadow Our Truth. So we have a show here today. Not really a lot on the docket per se. A little conversation we're going to have, of course, about various different shows. Obviously, the New Japan Cup update and kind of the finals as they're getting put together. CMLL has a big show on Friday, and we got the results of the STARDOM Cinderella Tournament, plus a little bit of news sprinkling in there throughout. So a lighter show, plus with Scotty being sick, we're trying to go sub 2 hours, ideally an hour and a half. So apologies for that. Apologies to your listeners if you were hoping for the longer rambling 2, 3, 4, 5 hour episodes. But we're just going to try to keep it light and tight for old Scotty's sicknesses. So I think let's get started here. And we'll kick off with the New Japan Cup and talk about that as that has unfolded. Where we left off in our coverage last week was on night 3. So we'll go through. I'll just name the New Japan Cup matches that took place, and I guess we'll talk about them a little bit, Scotty. So we had night 3, night 4, night 5, and night 6, and night 7, which actually was this morning. All took place. And let's talk about them. So night 3, it had second round matches of Yoshihashi versus Yuya Uemura, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ryohei Oiwa, Evil versus David Finlay. Scotty, what do you think of night 3 New Japan Cup action?
Pretty meh. Which, to be fair, is how I have felt for majority of this tournament.
You have nailed the talking point of the day, sir.
I think David Finlay has quite easily been the highlight for me for the majority of the tournament.
And you didn't even see day 7, which was today, which apparently ruled.
Right. I really liked him and Yuya, as you could tell. And I thought him and Evil was fun, though a little bit long. But like, considering what I was feeling for this tournament up until that match, it was like the brightest point at like, I don't know, like a 3.25 star match. Like, it's not like I'm singing the praise or anything, but it was like, to me, it feels kind of, it's difficult for New Japan because like the most exciting part of the company right now is not in it, right? Which is of course Goto. Um, right? He had a title defense, I know that, but you keep him out and you fill it in with like Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens. Then you're kind of hoping, okay, well, let's elevate the matches from here. And it's taken some time. It's taken, I think, until really probably the quarterfinals here
I totally
um,
agree.
to
Totally agree.
really kick into the New Japan Cup gear that you expect, which is again, it's fine, especially because most of these shows are happening in like small cities and towns. So like, I'm not gonna blame him for it.
Yeah.
But that was kind of like my big takeaway from this day, and then pretty much up until the show yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I no, I totally agree. I think I was gonna come into this show with the same idea of first round and second round. I could not really get into
I
most
skipped
matches.
majority of the first. To
That
be
I
fair,
well, yeah, you got Battle like
you
Fale
told
and
me
Chase
that.
Owens.
You told me
Uh,
like don't watch it. I was like, all right.
yeah, not too interesting. There was like some things like there was the Drilla Maloney Ishii match that I thought was interesting. I enjoyed Saber and Oiwa. Um, I enjoyed Shingo and Oleg Bolton, right? As well. That technically was second round.
Hear my scorching hot take. Actually, no, I'll save it for the Tai Chi match.
Um, but I thought a lot of the first and second round matches were kind of whatever, fine wrestling
Mm.
affairs, but for the most part, but a lot of threes, not nothing too
Yeah,
much to write
which
home about.
again, I think I I don't want to make this a generally like bigger wrestling topic, but I'm gonna because that's
Hmm.
what I do here.
Hmm.
Um, I think like for the most part, some wrestling fans have gotten like annoyed by the idea of just fine matches.
Yes.
And to
Yes.
me, and this has always been your point, now you go a little bit more extreme, like you need to watch bad wrestling to appreciate good wrestling. For me, it's like I'm okay watching fine wrestling
Yes.
because then the greater stuff stands out. And that's
Yeah.
kind of why, like, watching the New Japan Cup, there's a reason to me it's not as exciting early on,
Hmm.
like this time around. We've been spoiled in years past,
Yeah.
right? And there's so much great wrestling every week. It's like, it's fine. I'm not gonna be like New Japan's dead again because they're delivering 3-star matches in the middle of nowhere. Like,
Yes. That is a broader topic point of just like how the elevation of wrestling quality across the world
people
has
don't
happened.
appreciate the 3.5-star match anymore. I
Oh,
think that's
brother,
crazy to me.
I am watching SmackDown 2003 right now for the John Cena
You would do
retrospective
anything for
series.
the three.
Patreon.com/CannotPod, obviously. Hustle, loyalty, retrospect. So many of those matches are like sub 5 minutes,
Right.
like
Yeah.
2 stars maybe at best. Like if I see an Eddie Guerrero, I'm like, okay, great. This is at least 3. Not obviously I'm not saying Eddie Guerrero is bad, but just like comparatively.
No,
Uh
you're saying it's a good thing
it's like Eddie
because
Guerrero is
because
gonna be a
he's
good
having the
match.
3-star match in the 7 minutes they gave him.
Exactly, pretty much. Plus, I'm at the moment where Heyman is no longer booking SmackDown,
Oh,
and one of the big things for him was focusing on having more match quality, and like
yeah.
okay, that's gone. So it's like I'm struggling over there, and I think yeah, that's sort of the issue now is that I don't think people, uh, which I don't blame people, right? And I'm not saying that's the thing against anybody else. It's just sort of that
No,
that
no.
that is the downside of having so
Like
much great wrestling constantly.
like for me, I don't know why, but I've grown to appreciate again like the 3.5, like that realm.
Yeah,
I don't know why it's happened.
yeah,
It's not like I'm watching like crap wrestling weekly. Like I think I'm watching pretty good wrestling most of the time.
mhm,
But like, oh, that was a really good professional wrestling match.
yep,
That's cool. That's cool. And I'm okay with settling with that. It's just like
yeah. A
that's
three
kind of
three
the big
stars
thing.
is like this is a professional outing, like
Yeah,
this
it's not bad. Like
yeah.
to me, that
Cody grew his name off of three
right.
stars.
Right. And I think that also comes with like the idea of the 5-star match and all that, right?
Yeah,
It's like, oh, if it's you only rated it 4.25. It's like, well, that in most people's ratings that means something.
mhm,
In Dave's ratings, it's pretty much like giving it 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's the funny thing to it. Not to go on the rant, but I just thought about that like as we're sitting here, like, oh, it was fine, it was mad. It's like, and that's okay, like
Yeah.
that,
I,
obviously I would have loved it to be 4-4-4-4 all around, but it's like,
yeah, that's also, and at the same breath, that's an issue I think of. We're no longer like 2017, 2018
right.
New Japan, right? Like I don't think we're expecting that. And one of the things I was going to say coming into this was that like I vaguely recall a similar conversation we had last year about like the first several matches, or first several rounds, I should say, of the New Japan Cup, of just like it really is not picking up until the later quarterfinals and semifinals. And that's been a trend for the past couple of years, and I think that trend probably going to continue for the next several, until like the roster, evens out completely. Everyone bubbles up and this is great again, like that 2017 era, which maybe will happen again. I don't know. That comes in cycles. We'll see, but I think it's just this thing of like moving forward. I think we should just expect that like first and second rounds are, especially when they're in these smaller towns, like it's whatever. But
Until they're not bringing in Chase and Fale, right? Like until we stop doing that, it's never like the first round's never going to be great again,
yeah,
right? Because a lot of the great wrestlers are either older now,
hmm
so they're not going to deliver great, or the young wrestlers are not ready, and that
yeah,
mixture is especially in the early going,
yeah,
right? It's obvious when you get better, but it's good to see, like for me, it's good to see that like for the Yu Moores of the world, it gets better as he gets deeper, and
yeah.
not
And
for Shota Umino, but
and it, yes, we'll talk about him in a moment. But that is also a thing of like that is something they are doing, right? Like when was the last time we talked about Yano? Like
I know, yeah.
like he's disappeared now, and great, that's fine by
He's
me.
on comms. That's where
Yeah,
he is, and that's
so
where he should be.
that is fine by me. New Japan Cup Night 4 was second round match: Taichi versus Gabe Kidd and Great Khan versus Shota Umino. I again could not really get into either of these matches, and this was also the Shota Umino true singles debut, the one that everyone's watching. Obviously, on night 3, he had a preview tag where we got the debut, but this mixed with obviously his outing on night 6 with Jeff Cobb. Well, this is really the conversation here, because we'll save a Jeff Cobb related conversation there. How do you feel about the new debut of big time shooter Shota Umino?
I feel like I have to balance this correctly. It's better than where he was at, but it's not good.
I think it's more of a lateral move. Like, like
Sure,
I don't
like
know. I can't see the difference really.
okay. The difference is he doesn't hit the Death Rider anymore, so I consider that a plus because
Sure.
anything combined to them, that group, bad.
Mhm.
That's the one benefit, and I guess he's more aggressive, though. I think he wrestles exactly the same.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. I
I
think you know what I think that is truly.
It's the pants, by the way. The pants piss me off.
The fact that he's wearing the same attire is dumb.
Yeah,
Um,
and same music, right?
yes,
I
I
think
think
it's the same music.
everything's the same except he's
He's just
bald
bald
and he comes across more aggressive. There was
a
a
little.
yes. Let me describe something to you. There is um evidence that suggests that when people shave their head bald, they look tougher. I can back this up distinctly by the casting and the presentation of Bruce Willis back in the day. When he
Mm.
had hair, he was on like Bewitched movies and like a bunch of like rom-com sort of things. Obviously, he did do Die Hard, but like that was rare
That's why they
comparatively.
put Jason Statham in all those movies.
hmm Same thing with The Rock. Shave him bald, shave Bruce Willis bald. When someone gets shaved bald, they look more aggressive and tougher. Hey,
I
look,
think also with the Rock bald's probably the best choice for where his hair was going. But
also
yes,
agreed. But like, look, hey, we shaved Shota Umino's head bald, and now he looks slightly tougher in the ring. I'm not saying
it's true.
maybe he's throwing more lariats a little bit harder, but he just looked.
The only more aggressive thing, because when I read like a few tweets about it, they're like, "Oh, he's more aggressive," and then I watched, and I was like, I mean, kinda. Like, this isn't like
Eternal Pierre in the chat. Shave their what?
you did say shave their bald. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just think like at this point he is a mid Carter and he should be there for the rest of his career. I mean, that's high, I still think, but they're
Is
not going to
he?
stop trying.
Is yeah? Is he? I guess we'll get to him even more as we move on. But like, is he a lost cause? Is like, are we putting
Oh
too much
yeah.
effort into this guy? Is
I
this
mean, no,
what is
no,
the pay? What is the payoff to Shota Umino at this point?
heel
Okay, that would. Hey,
like
let's. That might work.
that seems to be the slow burn and the last shot,
Yeah,
right? If he doesn't work as a heel, it's not going to work. I think
yeah,
that's like, and which is fine. I think with a wrestler like him who had the potential and hope behind him, you have to try, right? Maybe not give him main events, but you have to try. They
yeah.
like to give him main events too. That's the problem. It's like let him go let him go fix stuff and then put him back in main events. Instead, they're just like, what if you tried to fix stuff while main eventing?
Yeah.
Is that a good idea? No, it's not actually. I really don't want to watch him in main events anymore.
Doing something like that would almost necessitate like the review of whether or not Shota Umino is a draw for New Japan, right?
Right.
Like, okay, we have to keep him in main events while he's doing this transition. Is he a draw? Is he
No,
bringing down the house?
he's no Goto.
No, to be fair, nobody's a Godo on this card right
No,
now.
that's true. That's
An
true. Goto's the
unsuspected
draw.
Godo. Yeah, like I don't suspect that Shoto Umino was a draw. They obviously see something though. I mean, they gave him the main event of the freaking Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, they do see something. It's called nepotism. It's a beautiful thing to see. Sorry, had to say it. I here's the thing. I'm not a fan of him. I'm pretty done with him, but I understand from New Japan's perspective, you're not going to give up on him just yet, right?
Yeah,
Um, Now I do want to talk about the other half of that main event.
the Great Okan.
From no,
Oh,
Great Khan versus Shota Umino is a terrible combination that needs to stop happening. There you go. I hope that helped. Like that's the other part. Like, oh, we're debuting this new Shota Umino. It's like, oh, against who? Great Khan,
the guy he already wrestled and lost to.
the guy he already wrestled and was boring against the first
Yes.
time.
Yep.
Like, at least put him in there with like a good worker.
Mm-hmm.
Like Great Khan's a good worker with different people, right? Like he fits better with certain people. He's not going to lift someone up, and Shota needs help being lifted up right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean the meanest thing they could have done with him is do Great Khan and then Naito, like current Naito, because that would have been rough. Because let me tell you, Jeff Cobb versus Naito was rough.
Yeah.
That was a really bad match. Between that match and the TJP Drilla Maloney match, I was like, maybe I should just stop watching this tournament.
Yeah, that was of course night 5, TJP versus Drilla Maloney. Drilla wins there. Shingo versus Oleg Bolton ruled. Shingo wins there. Jeff Cobb versus Naito. Jeff Cobb won there. Yeah, so one Shingo Takagi versus Oleg Bolton ruled. That was a really great match. Shingo and Oleg. Hey man, maybe it's just me, but like you got Shota Umino the other one in one corner, and you got Oleg Bolton over here, and it's like, man, this guy's got the crowd. This guy, obviously, I think he's still very much development, but like,
Yeah,
it's like, man, world
the
of
thing with him,
potential
he's
with
older.
this guy. Yeah,
He's older, so like, I understand why they're really trying with Shota. It's like, come on, we kind of because I think Oleg Bolton like this year in the G1 should have a great run. And if
agreed.
they do the same thing they did last year, honestly, he should be considered as the qualified people because I think pushing him sooner rather than later is smart. When you watch him have a match like this against Shingo, it's like, yeah, there's potential here. When you watch him have the match against Takeshita, it's like, okay, there's potential here. And like you said, he's making fans very
Yep.
much so. He's still very raw, like, and I
Yes.
think that's why I like him so much because while he's raw, it's exciting.
It showcases struggle a lot.
Yeah,
You get a lot
yeah.
more of that.
Like it's the opposite of like Shota Umino, who like isn't raw and like some of his stuff looks good. He's just boring,
Yeah. Yep.
right? Like I rather you look raw but be exciting than have it all like look clean but you kind of stink.
Shota Umino wrestles like he is a member of the NXT roster.
Okay, go ahead, explain.
He's boring. He's a mound of gray clay, or whatever Minoru Suzuki called them. It's just like he's wrestling fine, right? And he's out there doing his thing and or whatever. And it's just like it's not really going anywhere. And then they do the thing where they turn him heel, just like NXT, where it's not really going anywhere. It's whereas Oleg Bolton is a guy that's like they're like it's actually developing, and you can like see growth and all these sort of things, and you can see the path forward for him. Like Shota Umino, it's like he's a guy that's just going to like succeed because he's part of the machine. Like I don't believe that he's going to succeed on his own. I think he's purely succeeding because of he is part
I
of
would argue he's
he's part
not
of it.
succeeding. Like I don't care if he's going far in the tournament, he's not succeeding. And I need him to lose because you know what I learned, not to spoil everyone. I am 2 match results away from winning Chris Sampson's Sport of Pro Wrestling bracket.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I am 2 exact results away from winning.
Okay.
So obviously, we have to root for me, which we'll get to here
Uh-huh.
in a second.
Thank God we have we have your bracket queued up.
Yeah, I cooked in my impromptu bracket making. Just
Yeah.
saying. So I have one thing wrong, I think.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I went for Gabe Kidd, and that did not work for me. The other thing to talk about here, obviously, on this night, night 5, is the main event being sort of built around Jeff Cobb in a lot of ways, at least for the English side of things. So you have a report comes out via Fightful about apparently Jeff Cobb is a part of already WWE internal documents, roster documents. I don't know what that's. I don't know if Fightful has that. I don't know how. The fact that he's already there, but
Ryan's on TNA's internal documents.
I am. Yeah, I'm there. I'm getting paid every week.
But did he watch Sacrifice? No.
No, not yet. I'm going to. I didn't have the time. Hey, if my brother wasn't here, I would have watched it, and I would have given you a full rundown of let's see, Masha Slamovich versus Cora Jade.
Heard that wasn't very good.
I'll give you a full rundown on the swerve in the main event, the heel turn in the main event.
Yeah, speaking of that main event, I saw the steel cage. It's like you put up a chain link fence, like legitimately, like you pulled it out of the like a yard, and we're like, here you go.
What is this?
I saw pictures.
What is this? MLW?
Boom, roasted.
Boom, roasted. Blam. Yeah. So Jeff, we have this report coming out. Apparently, Jeff Cobb is headed to WWE. Dave, I believe, kind of like he kind of agrees to a certain degree, but also says like he's still working the shows.
He Daved it.
Yeah, he's still booked on these other things. Things can change, but like as it stands factually, he's obviously still working the Cup Tour. Well, for another night.
How did Dave figure that one out? Was it the match being scheduled to happen?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
So then Jeff Cobb. I guess this will be the contract news talking point of Jeff Cobb to WWE. Thoughts on that? Thoughts on him not in New Japan? How do you think he'll do there? How does this affect New Japan moving forward?
Good for him. Like he's 42 years old. You know, like he's not young. And I don't know, I want to be that guy, but like go get your money, buddy. Like I'm sorry. I've never been a big Jeff Cobb guy. I appreciate the talent. I appreciate what he can do, but I've never been a big Jeff Cobb fan. So like when I saw the news, or no, you sent me the news, I think. And I was like, okay, like cool. Not a game changer. It's better than him wrestling game changer wrestling, I guess. Like that's about as far as I can go. Go get your paycheck and I don't know, go wrestle Obafemi. Like, is that what he's gonna do? Because to me, when they could have pushed him, they didn't. When it made sense to push Jeff Cobb, which was probably last year after Ospreay left. They just went with the New Japan World Strong TV, whatever it's called, and that was it for him. And that's probably his peak. I don't see him winning the IWGP belts, either one of them. Like the only other thing I could see him do is win like the Strong, and like who cares, you know? It's like I don't think Gabe Kidd cares about that belt,
or the Never Again,
which is right. Which that's his ceiling. And
could you see him winning the Global?
No, I think they've kind of established that is kind of like the Intercontinental of WWE of old, where that's like we're putting soon to be main eventers here in this spot.
Yes,
you know, we went
test
with
them.
And Nick Nemeth. You know, importantly. But ever since Nick Nemeth, they went with David Finlay, Yota Tsuji, and now we're watching David Finlay climb to the main event. We know Yota Tsuji is going to climb to the main event. Like that, I feels like that is a glass ceiling Jeff Cobb can't break through. So like for that point, it's like what else is there for him to do? And it's go get paid. And honestly, like the other reaction I have is like I don't really need him in AEW. So you know, like I know because automatically people are like, oh, AEW, like would he go there? And it's like they don't need him. I mean, I'm not saying WWE does either, but at that point, it's just like go get paid, man. Like, they don't need him either. But if they're gonna put him on the touring version of NXT now to face Oba Femi, like good for him. Get paid main roster money to wrestle a bunch of young guys and help them kind of be what maybe like they wanted Samoa Joe to be once upon a time. Like that's fine.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I guess
I have literally no problem with Cobb leaving because it feels like it's kind of overdue. It feels like someone should have paid him a long time ago. So good for him.
For the I guess the other side of the argument for just podcasting sake, I tend to agree with you that I don't necessarily see him in the world title picture. And yes, I also think he should get that money if the money is available to him, and that's what he wants to do. Obviously, I mean he's the same age as Tama Tonga, LA Knight, Damian Priest. Like it's fine, you know. He'll get pushed over there if he wants to go to main roster, or if they want to put him on main roster, I guess. The argument I can make against the point that you're making, Scotty, is that the thing I've been talking about on the show for a while now is that the idea of elevating those mid-card guys into the world title picture, right? You know, as they're, you know, everyone was talking about let's push the young guys, and it was like, no, don't push the young guys. They need to like grow. Let's not hot shot them up the thing. I think a lot of ways people really pushing for Shota Umino to be hot shot, and
to be fair, I think it was all of them, and I think all of them. The two that got pushed to the main event both flopped.
Yes,
in the main event, like even Tsuji. I know people love Tsuji, but he had big matches that were like, ooh, I don't know about that one.
We talked about it. We talked about it in real time.
Now he's hitting at it right, but it's because you know he went back down a little bit. Shota Umino flopped and flopped and flopped and flopped. I mean, I don't know, but like Uemura hasn't been there yet. Oiwa hasn't been there yet. And it feels like they learned from those first two. Oh, maybe let's not rush them. Yeah, let's help those two a lot more.
But the ultimate point I'm making here is that like they are with Zack Sabre Jr. and with Goto. Obviously, we've stumbled across a legit draw on Goto, which is fun. But ultimately, that's what they're doing. You know, they're doing the thing that I was pitching this entire time, which is bringing up and raising up Zack Sabre Jr., Goto, your mid-carders, right? Yeah. Cobb was someone that I would put in there. Taichi is a guy I've put in there as well in the past. They're obviously doing something of Taichi, it feels like, based on that Zack Sabre Jr. match. But you know, this is a moment where they're elevating these mid-card guys, and Jeff Cobb, I think, is one of them. Whereas I tend to agree that like I don't necessarily see him really as a world title guy, especially like after Goto. Like it doesn't feel like that would work either. He can be a transitional guy maybe for one of the young people, but like that's kind of it. But ultimately, it's like, hey, this might have been the time where they can elevate him into like the world title picture more prominently. This would have been that time, but it's getting smaller and smaller, right? As the young guys are getting more up there. By 2026, the young guys, Yota Tsuji or Shota, even I won't like it. Yuya Mura, Oiwa. I don't know about Oiwa, but like by 2026, one of them might be world champion, right? So Jeff Cobb could maybe have won a title in the world championship at this point for the Golden Watch reign, let's say. But even then, as much of an argument I can make for that, I tend to agree. Like it's getting smaller. That opportunity for him is going to get smaller by the day. And look, if WWE comes a calling and they're going to put you in the bloodline, and you're going to be part of the bloodline in NXT or whatever.
I don't think he's going to be part of the bloodline.
I know. Everyone's
the
part
lovely
of the
joke of like everyone that signs from New Japan goes there is good, though. Hikuleo's still missing. So,
do you think what if he is part of the New Blood group? He replaces Jacob Fatu. That could be fun.
Oh, like as a fun like new thing.
Yeah, they kick out Jacob Fatu.
Probably stop calling it the Bloodline if you're going to add Jeff Cobb, because
they need a new name.
He's not Samoan.
Yeah, they need a new name for sure.
Like they were going far away. Like, oh, there's a connection here. There's literally no connection at that point. It's like we're just no.
Well, that's why I kept
Jeff Cobb,
the Blood Pack.
I like the idea.
Him in that group is a little bit less charismatic than Jacob Fatu, and it would be a similar vibe in terms of in-ring work.
Yeah, I think for him in WWE, the best bet really is just to be a singles guy in NXT. I mean, that sounds bad, but they're touring now. WWE gets everything over. He does one moonsault at his size and people freak out. Like, it's easy. It's very easy. And he's a big power guy. So, like, I bring up like him and Obafemi. He picks up Obafemi and tosses him. People are going to lose their minds. So, I think that's the best fit for him in American wrestling right now. That may sound bad for some, good for others. But, hey, it is what it is. Like, not everyone's made to be a main eventer. Not everyone's made to be world champion. And to me, I think with like the New Japan side of like, oh, well, they could have put him in the world title match. They sided with going back to the old school guys of Nagata and Tanahashi and maybe Kojima. Like, they prefer doing that, and it makes more sense, truthfully, like one final stand for them rather than a random singles match for the others. I feel like the most they ever got Cobb over was the Okada stuff, right? When he went undefeated before losing.
Yep.
And I feel like they never really followed up with that. And once they didn't do that, kind of sparked the end of any big push for him.
Plus, obviously, with Okada leaving, obviously.
Yeah, that's a bump.
Does New Japan lose anything with Cobb gone?
It was a good vet.
Foreign vet.
Good foreign vet. They should lose the United Empire if he leaves. Because that group does not need to exist. It's bad. That's what it is. Like, there's nothing exciting about that group. I would just get rid of it. They got rid of Chaos. They finally pulled that bandage off, So, like, let's pull this one off now. It's like there's no reason this group exists because you never brought in anyone to be a major replacement for them.
Well, they could have brought in Templario.
Well, they did, but they didn't. It's like at a certain point, it's like, all right, let's move on, please.
I tend to agree. That was night 5, right? Night 5, yes. So then we move on to night 6. This is where we start dropping off into our viewage in terms of catching up due to sickness and people in town. Night 6, we have Shingo Takagi over Drilla Maloney. Called that one. What? Sakura Genesis. Bing, bang, boom. Shota Umino over Jeff Cobb. David Finlay over Yuya Uemura. A great match. I believe Zack Sabre Jr. over Taichi. And Hiroki Goto defends successfully his title, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, against Yuji Nagata.
Yeah, so I never got to see the title match, though I've heard very good things. I did see all the tournament matches. Yeah, you said it right. David Finlay and Yuya Uemura. Really great stuff. David Finlay. I don't want to say this. Yeah, I'm going to say it.
Go for it.
I saw someone say this regarding David Finlay and Zack Sabre Jr. I think it was the Super J cast. They said Zack and David Finlay are the most consistent men's singles wrestlers right now in New Japan.
Yes.
And while I'm gonna have my take on Zack in a second, I will definitely agree on Big Dave at this point. Like I feel like every time David Finlay steps in there, he does his best to elevate the match, no matter who he's facing.
Yep.
And him and Yu Uemura have great chemistry. It feels like there's a natural David Finlay world champion to Yu Uemura beating him for the belt. Like that feels like a very natural path. Can't do it after the New Japan Cup if David wins because boy oh boy, Goto ain't losing. Just can't. You just can't have Goto lose. I'm sorry. Like even if it makes sense because I don't even think David Finlay's a heel anymore. I don't really know what they are currently.
Well, yeah, that's the other story that we haven't really dived into is the War Dogs versus House of Torture, and then the Sonata of it all, of whatever the fuck is he doing.
Joining the House of Torture.
Yeah, that they're heavily teasing that, but for whatever reason, they're slow burning.
Sense because him and Evil as a duo is better than him just randomly being in War Dogs and not making much sense.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, Sonata had Chase Owens join the War Dogs. I'm like, yeah,
that's an incredible sabotage.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you want to join? And then just like leaves. Like, yeah, have fun with that, buddy. But David Finlay, no matter what he is, he's been fantastic. He's so great. He's the guy that I look forward to the most, not named Hiroki Goto at this stage. It's awesome. Dude's awesome. And I picked him to win the tournament. I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Yep.
Because he's in that final, baby. And if he wins and beats Shingo, then I win the bracket. So spoiler alert, David Finlay made the final. But it's looking good for me. But let's talk about Zack.
Sure. Zack Sabre Jr. beats Taichi, loses to Finlay in the semifinal.
I'm sure the David Finlay match was great. Because of course it would be. It's David Finlay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tired of Zack Sabre Jr. And here's the reason why. I'm not like big into the Tekker style as is, so that doesn't help. But I don't know. I just feel like I've always felt for me, he always is missing like the story aspect in his matches. He's always just like a very good wrestler. He does everything fundamentally well. Can have very exciting matches with the right opponent, obviously. But I'm watching the Taichi match, and a lot of people love the Taichi match. I thought it was good, not great. And the reason I didn't think it was great is because it felt very one-sided in telling that story between the two. Like Taichi was emotional, and then Zack was just kind of like there.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like this is a big deal. Like everyone's very and the crowd really lifted it up. Like they were very into this because of the emotion and everything. And I just was watching this. I was like, he's just not a storyteller. And I understand like the Hiroki Goto match. He was perfect for that because of the way he wins and everything. Right? Because, he can win in an instant, which he did in the Taichi match, which again was my problem. They went 25 minutes and they won by a roll-up. But this is a Zack thing for me, just because it's probably just a lot of Zack in a little time. So I'm like, all right, man. And I'm sure if I watched a David Finlay match, I'd probably have a different tune because it was probably great. But the Taichi match didn't reach the heights I wanted it to because I felt like it didn't reach the emotion side that I wanted. Still a great wrestler. Still gonna have the great match, and it's why like him and Danielson work so well because that's not a emotion story. That is a I'm better than you story type thing, which I think is easier for him. The Shota Umino match did not help Zack's case either for me, obviously, but the Goto one did. So but the Taichi one, I was like, I wanted this to be great, and most people, like I said, probably did find it great, but it was just missing that side from him that I think I feel like I've seen it from him before, and it wasn't here, and I was upset.
I think I can't necessarily agree or disagree, but I think like I feel like Zack Sabre Jr. tells his emotion and storytelling via wrestling as a sport. Like
Sure.
the idea of like the struggle between competitors and slapping on moves and holds
And
and
that's
stuff.
that's why the Danielson matches work, the
Yeah,
Ospreay matches work,
yeah.
right?
And the emotion stuff and storytelling comes in the circumstances surrounding it, like
Yeah,
getting wins, building momentum to the G1 Climax win.
sure.
The best in Britain versus him and Will Ospreay. The best techers, best technical wrestler in the world between him and Danielson. It is, it's about that. It's not necessarily about like the in-ring storytelling per
Yeah.
se. It's
Which
more of
to
like the
me matters,
surrounding
which is
story.
why I have the
Yeah,
that's why I have
it's
the
just like
critique.
it's just a different
Yeah.
dynamic, which can work or not work because
Mhm.
if you're in this sort of like pushing, but you ultimately have to lose, right, in the New Japan
Right.
Cup
Of
because
course.
we're down cycling you a little bit from obviously being world champion, then you're at a point like there is no real outside story here for Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just like the Tai Chi match was the one that I
I
wanted him
tend
to
to agree.
show it, you know? You
Yeah,
know? Again, the action was very exciting and they were able to bring in, all that stuff, but I was like, it just feels like it should have had this and it didn't. So I was like, take it away. It was still a very good match though. Like I thought they had a good hard hitting match as you'd expect. I think Tai Chi's so awesome. I feel like I say that every time he has a big match. Um, but yeah, I think it's because I had so much hopes for that match and it just didn't hit the level I wanted it to.
yeah, and
Um,
that's fair, and I think that could be fair for a lot of people because that is a match that has been put off since they basically broke up as a tag team, quote unquote,
yeah,
broke up as a tag team.
they've never done it. So
Yeah,
um
it's a big
that's
match. It's a big
yeah.
match that you felt a little underwhelmed on. That's
And
fair.
like there's a very good chance that you watch it and you love it. And I
True.
because a lot of people did. Um I was missing the emotional aspect that I had going into it. Like just because that's what you expect. And when you're watching Tai Chi have tears in his eyes at the beginning of his match, it's like, okay, you're setting the stage for this to be an emotional battle. And then it's like, oh, it's just a wrestling match. Okay. I mean, that's fine. It's fine. Again, we've been talking about it. We talked about it earlier. A good wrestling match is a good thing. I appreciate that. But again, I wanted the emotional aspect too, which is not. I think you're right with the Zach thing. Like he tells his stories through the sport of pro wrestling rather than the emotional side,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Yeah.
That doesn't take away from him. But in
Well,
this match, it felt like I needed it.
well, speaking of the sport of pro wrestling, you're doing really well in Chris Samsa's sport of pro wrestling bracket challenge. I forget the proper name for it. I'm just gonna pull up your bracket here since it's pretty much accurate. So this is Scotty's bracket that we're seeing. What did you get wrong here?
Gabe beating Tai Chi.
Oh yes, you Gabe Kid being Tai Chi and that's it. To do a
Yep,
quick once over. Yeah, I think that is it.
that's it.
No, you had yes, yeah. This is all right. So yeah. So right.
Heartbreaking.
Other than that, other than ignoring the bottom left of Gabe Kid beating Taichi, everything here is pretty much accurate. So good on Scotty here.
Oh,
And this is also kind of the preview for what we have coming up. So David Finlay has beaten Zack Sabre Jr. to go into the New Japan Cup Finals. On the semifinals on the other side, we have Shota Umino versus Shingo Takagi. Obviously, you picked Shingo beating Shota Umino and going against David Finlay.
mhm.
So I guess that's the question for us. What is the finals going to look like? Is it Shingo? Is it Shota Umino? What do we want to see? I think we know that answer. And then what do we think is likely going to happen? And then overall, who do you think is going to win?
You could have one of the best matches of the year, I think, or you can have maybe the biggest carry job of the year.
You're right. Yeah.
It's how much do we want to test the power of David Finlay these days?
Yes.
That's kind of how I'm feeling about it. It's like, can he bring Shota Umino to a great match at this rate?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Talk me
Or
in. Talk me into Shingo, please. I'll come up with some sort of dumb reasoning for the other end. But talk me into Shingo Finley here, Scotty.
for me, Shingo and Finlay is kind of like what New Japan's looking for. It feels like New Japan's in the let's make people happy mode. And I feel like David Finlay versus Shingo makes people happy. Like people love Shingo Takagi. worldwide. David Finlay, obviously a heel, but that's the story they're going for. And I will say this: I am a little worried when he gets to that final, he might get screwed with the House of Torture stuff going on, which might lead to Shota Umino. Maybe there's something there, which is scary as well. But for me, you look at Finlay, you look at Shingo, you look at what they try to do, I feel like, with the New Japan Cup, and that's have a great match. Remember what they did last year? They shockingly put Goto into the final, and him and Yuto Tsuji had a great match. The match that, by the way, won the Tokyo Sports Match of the Year. Like, there's something to be said about when New Japan, like, oh, you know what? Let's just prove we are, in fact, the king of sport. We are the king of pro wrestling. This is what we do. And it feels like that's better. And honestly, the other thing is Shota losing before the final should further fuel him rather than getting to another final and having more success. Like, I don't think he should be in the final whatsoever because we're going over this new character thing. He should not get to the final, and he definitely should not win the tournament. I think him coming up short to Shingo is very much more interesting for him in the long run than getting to the final and either winning, which would be bad, or falling short to David Finlay, who is still like the tweener character we don't really know yet. At least if he loses to Shingo and like beats Shingo's ass or something, it's like, oh shit, here we go. Or down the line beats, because he's the baby face. And also I just very much prefer David Finlay versus Shingo Takagi. And I feel like everyone else prefers that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you are completely right. I think Shingo versus David Finlay is obviously a much more interesting match. And you hit the nail on the head of, hey, David Finlay gets the win. He then faces Hiroki Goto for the title at Dominion, right?
Sakura Genesis.
Sakura Genesis. I thought Sakura Genesis already happening. What was I saying earlier? Doesn't matter. New Beginning Osaka? Yeah, it was New Beginning Osaka. Sakura Genesis is next. He gets that challenge in Sakura Genesis. That is, Tokyo Sports, Magazine's match of the year last year, the Japan Cup final last year. That would be nice. That's a nice little bit of business here. Devil's advocate here, Scotty. If Shota Umino somehow beats Shingo, I don't know how he does it. And I don't know if what I'm pitching happens at Shingo or at David Finlay. David Finlay also has this other story of the tournament, and that is War Dogs versus House of Torture.
Yeah.
What if he gets screwed over by House of Torture's new member, Shota Umino?
I'm playing with it in my head. It's kind of scary.
They're setting up the swerve with Sonata joining House of Torture, and they say, nope, we're going. It's all a swerve. It's being Shota Umino instead. He's back with Ren Narita in a good tag team, probably. And he can be maybe not necessarily the new leader of House of Torture, but a 1B, I guess, of House of Torture.
Yeah, he's definitely not the leader. How dare you even suggest that?
Now, the problem, I think that is totally plausible and something that we can't write off. I don't like that.
It's in my head.
I don't want to see that.
Trust me. It's like,
I think it's a thing that could happen. I think that is a repackaging that would maybe serve Shota better, right? He comes out with black pants now.
I mean, people already don't like him.
Yeah, let's lean into it, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. Now the only problem with what I just pitched here, Scotty, is that it then feels like Shota Umino has to win.
Yeah. So we have to remember Evil's probably facing Yota Tsuji at Sakura Genesis, right? Because he beat him and all that. So maybe we can just avoid this a little bit longer. Push it off just a little bit more down the road, and then post both title matches for Finlay and Evil. We can come back to the War Dogs House of Torture big match at a next show because Evil's gonna be busy. We already know this.
Yeah,
he's gonna face Yota Tsuji. Like that's as much of a lock as anything.
He could beat Yota Tsuji.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Me neither.
Just like I wouldn't have. As much as I like Finlay, I wouldn't have him beat Goto either. And as much as it felt like post Wrestle Kingdom that's where we could be going with David Finlay, you just can't take the belt off of Goto, and you can't take the belt off of Tsuji.
And there is my argument for why maybe you go with Shota Umino winning the cup, because then you can lengthen Goto's reign, because it does in a lot of ways feel like Finley could be the next guy. Again, I want everyone to know at home, I don't like this. I don't agree with this. This is very much not in my wheelhouse, but I'm being the devil's advocate. That you can now extend Goto's reign a little bit longer, because it does feel like David Finley could be the natural next winner. That is even the match you could do at like Dominion, is David Finley versus Goto, right? And then at Sakura Genesis, you have 2 House of Torture main event and semi-main event. Everyone in America rolls their eyes. You and I jumping off our seat, obviously, for Goto and Evil. That is something that I could maybe see happening. I think that's too much, and I don't like it. But I don't know if I would be necessarily upset with that result. Like
there's
it's
not
something.
A single part of me that will be happy.
I'm not happy.
Wins.
I want to be clear. I'm not happy about it. But am I upset about it? Like, it gives something new for Shota. David Finley can then overcome and beat Shota Umino, beat Evil. Shota Umino, because here's the thing, Scotty. Here's the thing, right? Shota Umino can win the cup. He joins House of Torture. David Finley can beat Evil in the G1 Climax Finals.
They're not putting Evil in the G1.
I agree. But what if instead of winning the cup, he wins the G1?
Hold. They're not having a foreigner win the G1 2 years in a row. There's not a chance. I just no. Maybe like I just can't see them do it. I think David Finley's in a really interesting spot, because it feels like he should be winning the world title next. Like, that feels like his thing.
Yeah.
And maybe he does. Maybe they just are like, okay, Goto, good job, but that's enough. That's possible, but it just doesn't. And then they do David Finley versus Evil at Dontaku or whatever it's next after that. Like, that's a possibility. Or him versus Shota Umino at Dontaku, or I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities here, and that's the fearsome part.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want any of this, but I'm just gonna quietly prepare my body for Summer of Torture. So I'm just gonna quietly prepare myself.
I don't want Shota Umino in anything. Shota Umino is the torture.
Then maybe that's why he should be in House of Torture. Hey, look, at least they're over. At least House of Torture.
Yeah, they're the complete opposite of him.
Yeah. So hey, look, maybe it's something. But I agree. I would much rather see Shingo, much rather see David Finley wrestle each other, have a great match, than have a great defense with David Finley versus Goto.
Oh, by the way, if Shota Umino can't have a great match with Shingo, it's over.
I 100%
like, wrap it up. Let's get out of here.
100% agree. 100% agree. I also don't like the idea of like beefing up and heavy hitting Shota Umino, because then if it's not world title, if it's not global, that makes me fear that he's going after the never. And I'm like, I don't want Shota Umino to beat Takeshita. That's not what I want at all.
No. Now, when is let me see, when is Secure Genesis?
Good question.
April 4th. Nope. April 5th.
April 5th. Around the corner. We're practically there.
We're almost there. Yeah. So
what is it, 2-3 weeks away?
And then there's a Windy City Riot defense, remember, a week later. So
could it be of the world title?
Big Dave? Yeah, could it be Big Dave? Big Dave Finley? He got announced for the show already.
He wins the Secure Genesis and defends the title against Evil at Windy City Riot?
That's not what I said.
All right, well, let's move right along. Let's talk a little bit about the Stardom Cinderella Tournament finals. They had finally the finals match, plus a little bonus Wonder of Stardom title match in that main event. Scotty, I did not watch these, but I know you 100% did. And the person that you and most people suspected to win picked up the win here. Sayaka Karara, obviously I'm nailing it there, defeats Rina to win the Wish of the Cinderella Tournament. And of course, Starlight Kid defeats Konami after getting busted open in the mouth, I think. Hard to tell by with the mask.
think it was the
Nose.
nose.
Hard to
She's
tell in the
banged up
mask.
big time.
But successful defense, the Wonder of Stardom title by Starlight Kid here at the Cinderella Tournament. So reactions to the results.
Yeah, first of all, the best match on the show is Hana and Rena, which probably isn't a shock that the sisters had the best match. Yeah, Carrara won. Hate to be right.
Shocking one
I
shocks.
I didn't pick her in my because I have a lovely running gimmick. When I do official predictions, I never get it right because then I know who's actually going to win. Like last year, I knew Hana was going to win. I didn't pick her. This year, I should have just picked Carrara so she didn't win. But I have something to stand for. I did say on here though that she'd probably win.
Yep.
And she did. She did. And she is holding on to that wish. So
for what?
So fear is officially in my heart for the next month and a half until she uses it.
Fear or hate?
Hate's a faction in Stardom. I don't know if you know this. Yeah, so there's like this scary part of me that does think they might like act like she's going to use the wish on stopping a retirement. Whether that's Tam or Saya is a different story. So I don't like. I know people have pitched like, oh, she's gonna save Saya because it's the good in her heart, or she's gonna join hate. I'm like, that's not the one. That's actually worse than her saving Tam. Like, let's not do that.
That also sounds like overcomplicated. Just just do the feel good.
To be fair, the idea of the wish saving a retirement is overcomplicated enough for me. Because we've already done the rug pull with the loser leaves Stardom. I feel like twice in 2 months is a little bit much. That's just
twice in 2 months, but also like hasn't Tam been like booked for a bunch of other shows like in Stardom already?
Yeah, yeah, she's working Stardom as a freelancer.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
I understand. As much as I am enjoying the current product, there is this. It's like I don't need her using this wish for Tam. I just don't. You can't sell me on that being a good idea. You've done the career versus career match. You have to accept it. Now, as someone said to me, if this was a year down the line and Carrara won, it was like, I want Tam to come back. Sure, I could live with that. Because then at least she was gone. But like you're selling this as this is the end of one of these two wrestlers' career. If they use and I don't think I'm gonna be honest, I don't think they're actually gonna do it. But at the same time, why wouldn't they? They've already pulled the rug on the loser leaves Stardom match. So I don't know. I have no problem really with Carrara winning. I know a lot of people didn't. I don't think she's necessarily ready for like the One Nerve Stardom Championship or anything. Or should I let me rephrase? I don't think she's ready for a big title match at Queendom. I think that would be crazy. But I understand they're trying to make her a new star, especially if Tam's actually leaving, because you're trying to keep the Cosmic Angels as your most popular faction and all that. So yeah, it's difficult for sure. Just the ideas of it, but my pitch originally was she challenged Saya Kamatani for the title because I think that is either as redemption or revenge or something. I think that's more interesting, and it'd be like a 10-minute squash. Like it's a glorified squash in the end, but it works because you get the one hope spear, and it's like, oh my god, here we go. I think that works better at like a Corkin. But I don't know, and until she uses the wish, and I guess that's the intrigue and the fun of her winning is. You don't know until she uses it, and something tells me she's gonna hold on to it for a while. So we'll see. We'll see. Rena's very clearly the better wrestler, by the way. Rena had to do a lot of the heavy lifting, which is fine. But
what if she holds the wish until December?
That would be crazy. holding the wish like a Money in the Bank briefcase would be very funny.
She holds it into what is it? What is that December show?
Queendom.
Queendom.
Stardom Dream Kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like all Dream Queendom. What is this?
All Star Grand Queendom is this one. That's
Yeah.
Stardom Dream Queendom.
That's what I was like. Which one is this? What if she saves it for, whatever, the build to that show, so that show can be Tam's return facing Saya Kamatani and winning the title there. Devil's advocate, baby.
It's at least better than using it immediately.
Because
like,
then like Tam is officially gone for roughly 6 months, 5-6 months or whatever, and then comes back.
Hot take. I'd like the 5-star Grand Prix to instead matter for that show again.
It doesn't. These tournaments don't matter. If anything, if I've learned anything,
I know.
Okada apparently doesn't give a shit about tournament results.
Mirai held her wish till her second wish. She held her second wish until like June last time, I think. So like, it's not crazy to hold it on to it for a long time, though. That was just because like the hoops they jumped through to get there.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
We'll find out. The problem is that
I'm half asleep, I'm half sick, and you're making me think too much.
The problem with this is that this somehow has to all revolve around Tam Nakano. So
it always revolves and involves around Tam Nakano.
So it's just like, how do we do this? I think that would be interesting, by the way, if they did that of like Tam she loses, is out legitimately from the promotion for 5 months, and then like, oh, I'm going to use my wish, because like holding it for right now is kind of like,
here's the one
if they did it, because that also solves your problem of like back tracing the retirement angle 2 times in a row.
Sure,
this separates it a little bit more.
But there is the funny thing of like, why didn't you just use it when she retired?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Why didn't you just use it to not be a career versus career match? Why? Like, that's the difficulty of using this on anything that's not a title shot, because then it's going to be like, well, why did you not do this? Why did you not,
Because because obviously a rule that we don't know about that is, I guess, part
of it.
The
wish has always been very cloudy, to be fair.
But a subtle rule that the wish has always been a part of it. It has to be made before the thing can then happen. You can't just like have Tam lose and then she comes out and say, nope, undone immediately. We have to promote. We have to do. It's the Lucha Underground Dario Cueto gift of the gods, where it's like you can't cash it in day of. You have to like give him time to promote. You have to call your shot. It's that. It's that.
Oh, it's the call your shot gauntlet. That's what it is.
Exactly right. Nice, even though that is just the Money in the Bank.
Very true. Yeah. And the other thing is Starlight Kid, as you said, defended against Konami.
Yep.
Solid match. The main story though is Tam. Not Tam. Jeez, fuck everything.
Well, the main story is Tam, but continue.
The main story is always Tam, but Starlight Kid's gonna be out for a while. She did get really banged up match, but she wanted to defend it. I think the goal right now is to make sure she's back for America, so she can make the money and everything.
Yeah, they announced a crap ton of matches for her in America. I think Dragon Gate.
She's part of Dragon Gate, and she's on Spark, and she's on the 2 Stardom shows. I would guess she takes it very lightly in those, because it's all they're making sure she's healthy for April 27th, most importantly. That is the other big thing. So I don't think she'll be wrestling for the next couple weeks, probably the next month. Probably return at like the American stuff.
Yep.
But I'd guess they set up whatever her title match is on a show or something.
It's probably gonna be like tag matches too,
Yeah, she's gonna be in all tags. Like, she's not gonna, like, if you had the hopes of her defending the Wonder Storm title in America, don't count on it. That's about all I can say for you. I think she's going to be wrestling a lot, rightfully so, as she should, because she's too big of a star to miss that show, and she has the second most important title. Oh yeah, by the way, Mayu Shuri is Queendom, so there you go too, for the IWGP Women's title.
Yeah, and obviously also on top of that is they want to have her ready to go for Grand Queendom. So
yeah, very important. That show's very important if you can't tell with the first 2 matches. So she's going to be in a very important match too. That's your big three on that
Mm-hmm.
show. So have her rest as long as possible. Best case scenario for her.
Last little bit here for us to preview is CMLL. How CMLL has a big time show this Friday. I always am bad at the names here. CMLL's Homenaje a dos Leyendas is their big time show. This was their show last year that had like the AMC, the AEW versus CMLL multi-man in the main event. Here, we're going to have a loser, somebody unmasked on this show. Plus, we're going to have, of course, a little bit of AEW involvement as well for those for those gringos like me. So the show is as follows: Mexico City, Mexico, of course, Arena Mexico, this Friday, March 21st. Opening of the show is I don't know these people, Gemelo Diablo 1 and Gemelo Diablo 2 and Akuma teaming up versus Explosivo, Fugaze, and Star Black. So a nice little opener.
I've heard of some of those names.
I've definitely heard of some of those names, but I have not heard of the Los Gemalos Diablos. I have no idea who those people are.
I just like when they make you say these words.
They look to be young CMLL wrestlers, but I just don't know anything about them. I've never really heard of them, but they've been in the company for a very long time, apparently. So should be fine here.
They used to be named King Panther. Why'd they get rid of that? That's awesome.
Yes, I'm unsure. I doubt it that they're related. The King and Dark Panther and Black and White Panther, they have different names, different times. I doubt they're related to Blue Panther. But we'll find out, I guess.
12 years experience. They're really young. Maybe they're good. Maybe this is like a re-debut and I don't know about it.
Hey,
is Eternal still here? Eternal, help the folks.
Yes, he's saying that they're a decent tag team. So
that's not the spirit. That's not the spirit at all. I was hoping you pumped me up with like, oh, they're awesome. Oh, they're sneaky good. No, you just go, they're decent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Star Black's in there.
There's also a decent tag team.
What? Star Black, Explosivo, Fugaze?
I don't know. Maybe whatever. Where's that guy that I liked from Fantastica Mania? Raider? That guy?
Where's Raider? Get me Raider.
That dude rocked.
Yeah, that guy Raid. that guy raids. CMLL World Women's Tag Team Title Tournament final match. On one side of the bracket, you have Lady Frost in Taya Valkyrie. And on the others, if I'm not mistaken here, Eternal, you can let me know. If I'm not mistaken, the other side is Luvia and La Gerachita.
That's correct.
Versus Lady Frost and Taya Valkyrie. So, fine. I don't know. It's fine.
I like Lady Frost in CMLL. She usually does well.
I agree. I like seeing Lady Frost, but between her, I think her and Luvia are like probably the only things that I'm excited. Nothing about La Gerachita.
Hey, folks, I'll just tell you now, Ryan, not looking forward to Taya Valkyrie whatsoever.
No.
That is essentially what you were saying. By the way, the mask versus mask match. Oh no, Valiente. No.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment.
No.
So moving on, CMLL World Tag Team Title match: Los Hermanos Chavez, Angel de Ora, and Diablo Roja versus Volador Jr. and Rocky Romero.
Is this not all heels?
Yeah, I think it is. Well, I guess I think Hermanos Chavez are kind of tweeners, maybe more so than Volador Jr. and Rocky.
I like Angel Del Oro.
Yeah, big fan. I
like Rocky Romero.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Volador Jr. when he's injured, which he very much is.
Yeah,
and Diablo Roja is fine.
Did
you see that Sobrano Jr.'s out till November?
Yes, he's not getting surgery till what was it, April? I think.
Yeah, so
and he's gonna be out till November,
month.
roughly.
Yeah. What a heartbreaking thing to learn.
I agree.
I was like, no, and then I looked at this card immediately. I was like, oh, he wasn't on it. They knew.
Yeah, still, but I don't. A world without Sobrano Jr. is a world that I personally don't want to live in.
Well, you're gonna have to for a couple months. Then I'll be back. Hopefully he'll be fine. I'm very sad about it though.
Mm-hmm. But this
match is fine.
I think this match has potential.
It definitely has potential. I think Volador at this point is best in a tag match, and Rocky's good. And
It's also
The other
weird,
two
by
are
the way.
solid.
Also,
The
by the
other
way,
two to me are like the better version of the tag team that they always push that I can't. Oh, Magnus and Rugito.
yes.
I much prefer these two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um.
New
Is
champs,
but
by the way. That's my
how
prediction.
how much has Rocky teamed up with Volador in the past? Because they used to be like the biggest of rivals in 2023, if we recall, right?
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was a great year, great
Now they're
rivalry.
heels. Now
Now
they
they're
hate each
both
other or like
heels.
each other or something. I don't know.
How much have they tagged together? I genuinely do not know. See if I can look it up real quick. Um, and 2-on-2s. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of 6-mans. Okay, they've been teaming up a little bit since Volador's turned heel. So every
There
once in
should
a
be a
while.
world title match on this show. That's what I'm
Oh,
talking
they
about.
they yeah, they've done a little bit of tagging here and there, but honestly, not much. Not much at
You
all.
know what
It's
this
they've
show's
mostly
missing?
been on opposites.
You know what this show's missing?
What's that?
House Guerrero.
Apparently, Ultimo Guerrero could have been injured recently.
No,
I think Lucha Blog posted a
no. But
thing where he might have been
my
injured.
world champion isn't injured. Where is
Well,
my world champion?
yeah,
Hashtag my world champion. Hashtag best world champion in the Americas. Hashtag screw you, John Moxley. All right, continue.
who
Which
who
I
def-
have a comment about.
who defended their title less, Roman Reigns or Gran Guerrero?
Respect Gran Guerrero, first of all. How dare
Where did
you?
I be where was I disrespectful? I'm just
They
asking about
happen
facts.
to both be my tribal chiefs. Thank you. Gran Guerrero is awesome. Gran Guerrero defended his title a few weeks ago. Thank
I
you.
know.
Against Euphoria in a
Yep.
very solid match. It's absolutely Gran Guerrero though. He barely defends and he's had this belt for 861 days. And he's defended the belt in a total of 6 times.
And also, I believe most of them are against the same guy, against
Yeah.
Euphoria.
Yoda Tsuji twice and Euphoria 3 times.
Who was the 6th guy? Or who's the other defense?
El Terrible.
My God.
He also
what
won the
barn
belt from
burners?
Hetchy, by the way.
Yeah, what barn burners of matches?
Hey, you respect Euphoria. Euphoria is a beast too.
Yeah. Or maybe as
That Yoda Tsuji guy though? Actually, sorry, he was just Yota.
Yeah.
My apologies.
How dare you, sir? Lightning match here, Teton versus Templario. I mean,
yeah, it'd be awesome.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
This is the match you put on and you give them 10 minutes and they hopefully just tear the house down.
Sky Team, Mystico and Mascara Dorada. Obviously great
Sky Team
there.
were like my team.
Teaming up with the newly dubbed Lucha Stars.
They're not teaming with them. They're facing them.
Sorry, facing the newly dubbed Lucha Stars, Hologram and Commander.
They put a lot of creativity into that new name, by the way. They were like, what did we just lose? The Lucha Brothers. What if we made these two the Lucha Stars?
I did not think about it like that, and that's so fucking funny.
You're welcome. It's not a lot of creativity at all.
It's the same act because they also got fucking what's his face.
I know the guy that the hype man, which I think is the single reason Penta and Phoenix left. I choose to blame the hype man first. But this match is gonna be awesome.
I know. Right? I fucking can't wait for this match.
As much we can laugh about it, it's gonna be awesome. Like there's no doubt about it. Hologram and Commander and Arena Mexico is pretty awesome. Facing Mystico and Dorada, essentially the top 2 guys right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna. You're not gonna get a complaint out of me.
No. I mean, if anything, if I'm going to complain anything about this card, is that there's no Big Hetchy. Everyone, Big Hetchy is the kind of guy that when everyone looks around, they should be asking themselves, "Where's Big Hetchy?"
Why are we not?
Why is Big Hetchy not in the main event?
Previewing the other big AAA show.
AAA show.
The other big Lucha show, which is AAA Rey de Reyes.
Should we? We have a short show. Maybe we extend it by talking.
Yeah, we'll give a whole laugh about the 2 fucking matches scheduled for the show.
Oh my God! Alberto El Patron versus Vikingo and Flamer versus Dias.
I Don't want to talk about either of those. Okay.
The sucks is
And
that Vikingo is 100% losing.
You're
Eternal Pure.
Vikingo also?
Let's preview it. Eternal Pure says, "We just did, buddy. We just did."
All right, Alberto Del Patron. Thanks.
Gonna win.
Vikingo might be washed. We don't know yet. He's had the knee injury. Seems to have slowed him down. The one match I saw him in. Since then. And look, the other one, I don't know.
Look, here's the thing about the I group in AAA, right? Look,
how can we make this show go 45 more?
By talking AAA, by dunking on AAA.
Oh, wait, I know. I still have a rant.
Yeah. So then we also have the tag team match here in, I guess, the semi-main and the main event. This is a Lucha de Apuestas sort of tag team match situation here where two guys are going to team up, face another pair of two guys. Whoever wins is then going to have a mask versus mask match versus their partner. So we have Esfinge and Valiente. If they win, they will face each other in the main event, mask versus mask. And then Star Jr. versus Zandokan Jr., mask versus mask. Obviously, Scotty, Zandokan Jr. and Star Jr. is so much more interesting of a match for me. But like, I want neither of them losing a match, unless we're gonna Parata Morgan Zandokan Jr. And by that, I truly just mean giving him an eye patch and not having him dive to the outside and land on a chair. That's all I mean. No. But so we're really looking here, probably, I think, Esfinge and Valiente. So what are you thinking here?
My problem, first of all, is I love Valiente. I think he's awesome. I don't feel the same way about Esfinge. Mm-hmm. He's, to me, the problem here.
Yeah.
He's absolutely taking Valiente's mask.
Yeah.
Because I don't see why they beat any of the other three. It's kind of shocking this is the main event, but hey, better this than the anniversary show, am I right?
It's a knee slap right there, folks.
Weren't they both in the Euphoria Hechicero match?
Yes.
All right, cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be a knee slapper. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like Esfinge, so
you're thinking Esfinge and Valiente loses, let's say off chance, Star Jr. versus Zandokan Jr.
That'd be crazy.
Mm-hmm. Build's been fun for that on CMLL on these shows, but two guys that I'm not taking the mask off of either, unless they are like Ryan Reynolds level of hot and attractive, like I'm not taking the mask off of these.
Remember when they take the mask off of Dragon Rojo Jr. You never saw him again. There's a real opportunity to do that again here.
Remember when they took the mask off of who the fuck who did Big Hetchy beat? You just said his name.
Euphoria.
I think I've seen Euphoria once since then.
I've seen him multiple times.
Oh damn!
I still haven't seen Dragon Rojo Jr. since he lost it 2 years ago.
Is he?
He literally disappeared. Like I don't even know if he's employed anymore.
Let's see. Let's look up Dragon Rojo Jr. What is this guy doing? Yep, he wrestled March 9th, March 3rd. He's wrestling all the time. He just challenged Guerrero Mayo Jr. for the Mexican national title. They challenged Flip Gordon for the World Historic Middleweight title in February.
See, this just sounds like an us problem.
Yeah, I think it is.
See, I've seen Euphoria because I go out of the way to see him and Greg Guerrero because I have taste. Dragon Rojo Jr. not so
much. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there in the semi-main event into the main event. A mask will be lost here on the show. Get into it. These shows are pretty much pretty good always. I think every match here is at least very interesting to me, so I'm probably gonna be watching the entire show. We should just get Eternal Pure on one of these shows to help preview CMLL sometimes, because I know he knows
the entire comments page just gave you all the information.
Yeah. Well, he's helping us out. He's helping us out for sure. In hindsight, knowing that we're both kind of dead, we probably should have had him on the podcast. Eternal, I'm gonna blame you. Anyways, not us. We're infallible. Anyways, that is it. Scotty, you did have a
no,
tangent.
It's not it. It's not it. No,
you had a rant tangent you've been teasing all night.
I didn't come on this podcast sick and in pain and tired, not to get this off my chest.
Okay.
I don't know if like Tony Khan hates his fans. I don't know if Tony Khan like hates the people that really like AEW. I don't know if he hates the freakazoids like Ryan Knightsey.
Apparently.
But his latest booking decision would tell me he despises you folks. Because on Wednesday night, let me tell you, I did not watch Dynamite Live because I never do. I barely watched any of this week's Dynamite, but I watched it. When I got sent by multiple people the match graphic of John Moxley versus Cope in a street fight, and not only is it in a street fight, it's next week.
This upcoming Wednesday?
My mind. As Lucha Blog said, what did Omaha, Nebraska do to you people?
They've been working with the Omaha basketball team.
Like, what did they do to deserve this? And I know they probably think, oh, it's a world title match. They should be so excited. No, they shouldn't be so excited because they had the singular worst match I've ever seen in AEW history together. You know why? Because of the stakes, because of the moment, because of the main event, and because it fucking sucked. And they're running it back. I am one of the lucky or non-lucky ones, however you prefer and however you feel about this man these days, not to be blocked by Cope. But if you ever watch this show, Cope, if that's your real name, I know it's not.
Well, I mean, no, it is, but shortened.
It's not. Cope is not his real name.
That's like
he's going to have to cope with the fact that it's
like
not his real name.
That's like saying Scotty's not your real name.
It's not.
Yes, technically.
Boom roasted, buddy. I don't even know where I was going to go with that. You just ruined me. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. Who the fuck wants to see this again?
Fuck yourself.
Do you want to see it again? You're the freakazoid. Do you want to see this again?
No. I messaged you immediately as the graphic came up. And once I found the picture of it online, I sent it to you and I said, I don't remember what I said exactly, but it was pretty much like, fuck this. Like, what are we doing here?
This is mind-numbingly dumb booking. Someone put a perfect tweet out there. Imagine if they ran back Mercedes Moné versus Britt Baker. They would have never done that. Why are they running this back?
I think what's funny to me is I don't know if it was that day or the day prior, or whatever, that we got that like Fightful report of like, yeah, they had like a whole other match. They had a whole other better match supposedly planned, but they scrapped
with
it
more
for
run-ins.
More run-ins.
I was like, hold on.
And like even a surprise return. And I sat there thinking like, surprise return of who? Danielson? That's the only person I can think of. So I think that match is what we're getting. Whatever that match in Omaha.
John Moxley went to the back and was like, see, you should have went with my match, guys. Instead, you got this shitty. No. John Moxley, you haven't had a good match in months, my guy. You've been the worst AEW World Champion of all time, which is an accomplishment because CM Punk's combined reign is 7 fucking days, and he's had 2 of them. I couldn't want to see a match less. Obviously, I'm going to watch it because I have to make a point next week, and this is considered your official preview because for some reason Omaha is getting a pay-per-view level show because it has the 4-way, it's got Chris and Megan again. So
can I do an impression real quick and see if you can understand what I'm doing? Can I do a quick impression? Can I derail the entire podcast and do a quick
I've settled derail the entire podcast. We're at the end. My rant isn't even coherent. Right. It's just a bunch of yelling.
I'm gonna do a quick impression. Omaha. Who am I?
Oh, it's Peyton Manning. I don't know what that has to do with this match.
It wasn't. I was just doing an impression.
Oh, dear God, all right, man. He just was like, what if I Omaha? What? That's what you felt the need to do.
What I don't like about the Cope match, other than it's gonna suck, is other than it fucking sucks, is the logic of it doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Wait, let me find my favorite graphic in the history of AEW. Go ahead.
Cope, yes. Did he get pinned? No, he did not. But technically, he still lost the match. Moxley still won the title defense, successfully defended his title against Cope and Christian Cage. I understand the thing, and I think it's such bullshit when companies do this, because I do agree that maybe Cope logically maybe should get like another chance at the title, but he shouldn't just get an automatic one. He technically still lost. He should earn it. And now, especially on the same exact show where Swerve becomes number one contender, it doesn't make any sense. He's already got cut in line. Swerve is already ahead of them in line. If you're going to run back Cope versus Mox, and do whatever this Swerve is going to be waiting the winner at Dynasty bullshit, just do a 3-way at Dynasty, Swerve versus Cope versus Moxley, if you want to do it that way, or rather have Cope and Swerve face each other to be the quote-unquote rightful number one contender. Swerve can be like, I won the match. Cope can be like, I never got pinned. They have a match. The winner of that faces Mox at Dynasty. And it will be
you
Swerve.
Want to hear my solution
It should
for
be
that?
Swerve.
That I've
Don't do it at all.
Settled on.
What's that?
Fuck Cope. Stop. Like, he doesn't need to be here.
I agree.
Like, that's mine. Oh, by the way, I have my favorite graphic in the history of AEW. Give me 1 second.
Perfect.
Just gotta get it up here.
I'll do my impression in the meantime. Omaha.
Omaha. This is my favorite graphic of all time. Have you ever seen a graphic that said, yeah, we know our world title situation fucking blows, but Swerve's going to be there? That's awesome. Yeah, I agree, guys. And by the way,
they're drawing not with the world title match right now, but just on Swerve alone.
Just on Swerve alone, which, by the way, one proves how much of a draw he is and how much of a draw the other two are not. I don't get it. I literally said to you, I'm done with it. Oh, no, I remember how this came up, because all I did was message you, I'm done with AEW. And you said, oh, you saw the graphic, huh? Yeah. I was like, yep. And then that's where we went off and you said, this fucking sucks or whatever.
Yeah. It doesn't make any fucking logical sense to do shit like this. I think it's bad booking. I think you can do way more cooler stuff that would actually get like more wrestling matches out of it. Like different variety of Cope versus Swerve. That's to a certain degree, that's an interesting match, right? I think a 3-way at Dynasty would be dumb, but you could do it, right? That's
if you wanted to get
different. It's something different that isn't a repeat of the match, that is a street fight that will undoubtedly mean more run-ins.
Yes. If you wanted to get another big match on TV out of this, Swerve and Cope. There you go.
Right? Yes, like that's what I'm saying.
But you know why we can't do it, Ryan? Because Cope can't put anyone over.
Because that is why. Because Cope cannot lose. So then do a 3-way. No.
Why did they sign him?
Because, I was gonna say because he's a draw, but no,
he's not a draw.
He was a proven draw. He was proven the opposite. Well, I don't know about an opposite of a draw, but not a draw at the very least. When he returned and popped and had. No, yeah, he had a drop in every quarter hour he was in that first week he was on television. He was on Raw.
Awesome.
He was on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and the quarter hour dipped every single time he was on.
Like,
proven not a draw.
I don't care about this match. I'm gonna watch it because I have to. Because we're gonna talk about it next week. We have to.
Is there any reality, any possibility?
This match is great?
No, not that. I'm not saying great. I'm just going. The bar is at better.
The butt is okay. Well, to be fair, I rated it a dud, so you can only get better.
Presumably.
If you can't beat dud, wrap it up. Have Swerve cash in at the end of the fucking show. As far as I'm concerned, I don't usually really care, but you know what? Yeah. You poked me enough.
Would Bryan Danielson returning in the match to help Cope win? Hold on. What am I saying? What am I arguing here? What is
I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to go for here.
What is Bryan Danielson returning?
You know what's going to happen? This is what's going to happen in this match. Claudio's going to return. Pac's going to return. Shafir's going to return. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna do
FTR, Willow gonna run
They're
out.
gonna do the shitty version of the Cody Roman match.
The Bloodline rules.
The Bloodline rules match from WrestleMania where all like big stars came out. Instead, they're gonna just roll out like all the same people they've been rolling out for months.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you're hoping for Bryan Danielson. You know who you're gonna get? You get like Luchasaurus. Which, by the way, hope he comes back, obviously.
Hey, I would love to see Luchasaurus.
That would be great with all that he's dealt with. But, like, that's not a pop. Also, it doesn't really make sense unless Christian Cage was involved again.
Eternal Pure, who is the Undertaker equivalent? A Luchasaurus. We've already discussed
Luchasaurus. I think I nailed it on accident.
I think you did on accident. It's Luchasaurus. We can all agree. They're both ancient.
Like, who's coming back? You know, like who's coming back? That's like, oh, we had this great idea and it just didn't work out. Like, there's no one. There's no one.
Danielson only makes sense to me because we know that he has
Darby.
Darby could be interesting, right? I don't know what's happening with this whole fucking Everest gimmick, but like Darby,
I don't think it's a gimmick. I think it's an actual mountain.
I know, but you know what I'm saying.
And a ride at Disney World.
That maybe that's what it is. He's like riding.
Maybe that's what he's climbing.
He's climbing Expedition Everest.
Oh, and another problem I have.
He's gonna
another problem.
He's gonna somehow find a way to undo the ride so we can finally fix that freaking Yeti.
Booking malpractice with Mark Briscoe losing to Mark Davis. I just have to stress that, by the way. I'm sick of Mark Briscoe losing. Oh, what excites me more? Mark Davis versus Kenny Omega or Mark Briscoe versus, I understand he was not winning either way, but come on, man.
I was gonna say he should maybe win the TNT title, but with Garcia holding it, I don't think it's happening.
Mark Davis?
No, Briscoe.
Oh, okay. Are you happy with Speedball?
Yeah, I'm fine. I thought the match was that would be my match of the week, I guess. From everything else we haven't watched, is him versus Beast Mortos.
Wow, that's pretty bad.
I didn't watch. We talked about the Cup. You know, I watched a lot of Cup. I watched a lot of 2003 SmackDown. I guess the actual match of the week would be Eddie Guerrero in Tajiri versus Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas in a ladder match for the SmackDown Tag Team titles.
It sounds beast.
At what was that show? Judgment Day? I think Judgment Day 2003. That was the one.
Day, like,
yeah.
Isn't that the name of the faction?
Yes, it is. But it was also the name of a pay-per-view.
Was Finn Balor there?
He could have been in the crowd. I want to say the main event of that show is Brock Lesnar versus Big Show in a stretcher match.
What if the return was Eddie Kingston?
I would be into that. Darby, Eddie, Danielson, all of those would rule. I think. Honestly, hold on. I think Danielson's the weakest out of the three.
I think he's also probably the most unlikely.
I think Darby's the most unlikely because I don't fucking know what's happening with that.
Maybe he already did it.
Maybe he could have. I don't know.
What if the return is the scapegoat Jack Perry? Would you shut the TV off and stop watching AEW as a whole? Because I think I would.
Look, I think I finally have to listen to Kendrick Lamar and turn the TV off.
What if it's Tottenham Sig?
And then I have to follow up with, I guess, squabbling up. Turns out I got to.
What if it's Trent Beretta?
What if it's Chucky T? Hold on. Hold on, I'm into that.
Nope. There's not a part of me that's
turn up here. The big return of Wardlow.
I could actually see that one. I could see him joining the Death Riders. Why not put him in his 15th faction to fail? Holy shit. What if it's Billy Gunn?
What if it's Anthony Bowens? I guess that's plausible.
Oh yeah, turn him heel. Everyone was cheering.
What if it's Ray Phoenix? All of it was a swerve. It's Ray Phoenix.
That would be really crazy. What if it's Keith Lee? That would be crazy.
What if it's in Hella Show?
All right, I've run out of names.
Hold on, I'm looking at the roster page now. I don't think there's anyone. What if it's Boom Boom Cabana? You know,
what if
he's a dude.
Oh dear God! What if it's Matt Sydal?
What if it's Danhausen?
Oh,
What if it's
God?
Hey, hold on. This is a. What if it's Roosh? Can it be Roosh? Hold on. Hold on.
Could
Can it be
Roosh.
Roosh?
I mean, what's he coming back from?
I don't know, but he's gone for
What
some
if it's
reason.
Riho?
What if it's? I mean, like that's the ultimate. Where's Riho? It should be Big Hetchy. How about that? Big Hetchy. Everyone should be asking themselves, where's Big Hetchy?
Oh, I have another complaint. Why is Big Hetchy always losing? Oh, let's put him on the TV to lose again.
He just wrestled in Rev Pro this morning. I don't know if he won or
That's
lost.
great, man. I don't give a shit.
It was Rev Pro Epic Encounter.
Was it an epic encounter?
I did not watch it again because I watched this later. I'll let you know. But he wrestled Zosiah.
No way. Michael Oku defeated Steven. This is bullshit.
Ever since
No, Hetchy lost.
I didn't want to tell you that. I didn't want to spoil it. Ever since Michael Oku beat Luke Jacobs, I have been off the chain of Rev Pro. I was
Finally.
just like, all right,
Welcome
we're
to the
back
party,
we're
buddy.
back to Oku. Fuck this. Okay, I'm done.
Holy shit.
Oh
Holy.
man.
Get me out of here.
That is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. Scotty, I guess I'll go ahead first since I've already kind of did plugs a little bit. I already did my match of the week. Match of the week, I said Judgment Day 2003. I think it's 2003. Eddie Guerrero Tajiri versus Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. Really good match. Good ladder match. My plugs are go onto Netflix and watch a little movie called The Electric State, directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, starring Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt. The movie, Scotty, not good in my opinion. People do.
Hold on.
The critics are panning this thing left and right. I thought that the movie was really bad too, but people are enjoying it. The crowd is sometimes enjoying it as well. I've seen people say they like the movie. But my recommendation is to go watch that movie. Why? Because my wife worked on it. So support my wife. Her name's in the credits.
Your wife worked on a movie that everyone hates.
Yeah, but directed by the Russo brothers. So that's something. She
already doesn't make this better. That hurts Marvel really bad, actually.
Look, but Scotty, here's the thing. A lot of the reviews I've seen online are panning the movie. And one of the few only positives I've seen reviewers give this movie is the set design, which is what my wife had a part in. I'll say this right now. My wife, she worked on the movie. There's a part in the movie where they go into a mall where all the robots are, and there's this like sort of a cable noodle.
What the fuck is this movie?
What? It's a movie. There's a little like cable noodle bar. My wife put that whole thing together by herself. So
hey, hold on.
It's legitimately great. Go watch it. My wife is a great artist.
So this has a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, but 75% on the popcorn meter.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people are enjoying the movie. The critics are the ones like me that are saying stinky poo poo. But the artistry is really good.
This just to rate it poorly.
You might like it. I don't know. I don't think you like it, Scotty, but I think you might like it more than me.
All right. Here, hold on. On a scale of Cope and Moxley to Ibushi and Marufuji, where does it rank?
An impossible to judge scale, but I guess Ibushi, Marufuji, because I was
someone's injured the whole time.
Yeah, it's me. That doesn't even make any sense. I gave it like a meh for most of the movie, and then like the last like 40 minutes or so lost me. So that's really where the turn happened. But like, so it's like it's a fine movie, and then it's like the last couple minutes ruined it for me. But yeah, go watch the movie. My wife worked on it. Support her. Even though she doesn't get points on the back end on any of these things. She already got paid 2 years ago for working on this movie. But hey, she did a good job on it. So I just want to shout out my wife for working on that movie, and her name's in the credits too.
Tell her congratulations. I won't be watching it, but congratulations.
Speaking of bad movies, I'm going to plug the patreon.com/counterpod. I watched and reviewed Queen of the Ring, the Mildred Burke biopic movie. Put that on the Patreon $5 tier. Patreon.com/counterpod. Did my review. I gave the hint already on how I felt about it. And if you think I thought the Electric State was a bad movie, wait till you hear my review of Queen of the Ring. I think that is it on my plugs. Scotty, what is your plugs? What is your oh, actually, no, I have one more plug. The ballot. I put out my voice cracked. Sorry, I'm going through puberty.
The ballot.
I'm still going through puberty. The ballot. I just put out the latest episode of the ballot about Drew McIntyre. Why his career, why I don't consider him a Hall of Famer, and then we talked about a little bit of the sort of modern candidacy effect of what's happening in the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. So big time negative week here for old Ryan Knightsey. So if you want to listen to a lot of me complaining about things, you got a lot of different places to get that. Scotty?
I don't know how to follow all that.
Positivity, maybe?
Usually I'm the negative one. But I'm not going to be negative today. I saw Mickey 17. I thought that was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to see that with one of my friends this week.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Roughly how many Mickeys were in there?
I'm not going to spoil the movie.
Between Mox and Cope and Ibushi and Marufuji, how many Mickeys are in there?
Oh, definitely Mox and Cope.
Oh, ooh, interesting.
Because, all the run-ins. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll be here next Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what am I doing?
Plugs, match of the week.
I'm out of gas, man.
The same thing we do every single week.
I'm out of gas. I'm sick. Leave me alone.
I also we're going an hour and a half and we're over, like always.
At least we are under 2.
That's true.
Anyways,
but at this rate, we're gonna be at 2, brother.
Plugs, youtube.com/@ScottyWrestling. My podcast is there. More thoughts on Sari versus Shuri. And weekly content. Joshi content specifically. The JoshiInformer.substack.com each and every Friday that drops. Got a big one coming this week, a lot of big shows to review and talk about. So make sure you subscribe to that. My match of the week. Ooh.
Yeah, the Grand Princess was today, right?
Yeah, we'll go with Mizuki versus Rika Tatsumi. That was the only match that I really enjoyed.
Oof.
Well, I liked 3 matches. Willow and Miyu Watanabe was just not long enough, so that was a shame.
On the American wrestling promotion scale, where is Tokyo Joshi Pro?
I'm not saying this. You're gonna get me in so much trouble.
Where?
You're trying to get me in trouble, and I will not answer it. Nope.
Is it like indie level? NWA? ML Dub? ML Dub? Is it your ML Dub?
It's definitely not. It's not my ML Dub. I don't have an ML Dub.
Is Eric Bischoff showing up in Tokyo Joshi Pro?
God. That would be so bad. It's kind of funny though. They should do that. That'd be so funny. Imagine Eric Bischoff showing up at anything that's not
American.
Yeah, crazy.
He just got fired in kayfabe from ML Dub.
Me too, man.
From kayfabe.
Yeah, from kayfabe.
Great. Any other plug? I think we're all good. I think this
get me out of here, man.
I think this loony train of ring pussy this
week.
I
appreciate everyone that watched the show. I hope my rant was as bad as I thought it sounded. Root for me to win the sport of pro wrestling thing.
Yes. So what do you need to do? You just
rooting for Shingo tomorrow and David Finlay on Thursday.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's totally plausible. Totally plausible.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
feels plausible. It also will further prove that I am better at predictions than Ryan, which we already knew.
Become very apparent.
We needed to prove that.
I had the other idea that maybe next year for the Royal Rumble prediction thing, we should give me a bonus question for each thing, so it's almost like a handicap, where I have another chance to get another bonus point.
See if you win by the 1.
Yeah. Because I think I need help. I think I need help, just generally speaking. Anyways, that's it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We'll be back talking about the New Japan Cup Finals, the CMLL Friday show, and whatever other nonsense we have to discuss next week. I believe, Scotty, we are.
Noah has a big show next weekend.
Good for them. What's wrestling? Are they gonna Ozawa gonna win another title and then get rid of it?
Ozawa's defending against Masakita Miya.
That's not a big show.
Hold on, what is this?
Masakita Miya is always like the first defense of whatever in the.
Hey man, he's not the first defense this time.
That's true, but he's gonna lose. I mean, let's be honest.
He's gonna lose. I just was telling you, some independent wrestler passed away.
Oh, well, that's not fun. That's not fun news.
Bodyslam.net wrote, breaking well-known independent wrestler passes away Sunday afternoon. But I don't. But
you have to click on the thing.
It didn't name who.
Great. Good job.
What?
Good job, Body Slam. Hopefully it's no one. Well, I'm not gonna say.
Well, it seems to be. Oh, Vince Steele.
I have never heard. I don't know who Vince Steele is. That sucks. I'm very upset.
Oh my god!
Passed away, but I don't know who Vince Steele is.
You want to hear? Hold on. So you know how we got Minoru Suzuki versus Butterbean?
Yes, at the whatever this is, GCW thing.
You want to know what no, not GCW, Mark Hitchcock show, which devastates you. Well, buddy, buckle up.
I just assumed it was GCW.
Buddy, buckle up, because Mickie James is back in action, and she's facing Maki Ito. So you have
the Mark Hitchcock
Suzuki. Show? Yeah, you have Minoru Suzuki versus Butterbean and Mickie James versus Maki Ito. That is your show.
What happened to the Mark Hitchcock show? This used to be
also,
like.
If you're wondering, Eva Marie is also attending WrestleCon. I know you might go to Las Vegas, so I know you're excited for that.
What happened to my baby? What happened to what happened to this? Everything sucks, dude. All right, let's end this freaking show. We gotta get out of here. Thank you everybody for listening with us. We'll be back next Sunday discussing more whatever nonsense is happening in the world of professional wrestling. Goodbye, everybody.